Hello everyone, welcome back. In this section we will be going further with our course. In today's section our focus would be on linear convolution. Now when you look into the theoretical background of linear convolution, we will be taking two sequences and writing a MATLAB code to perform linear convolution of a given discrete time signal. Now convolution is a process used to find the response of a LTI, that is linear time invariant system, to a given input, assuming that we have already known the impulse response of that particular system. In the case of continuous time signals, we can find the system response of a given convolution integral, while in case of discrete time system, the response can be calculated using the convolutional sum. Now that's the theoretical background of it. To understand it precisely, let us consider there are two signals x1 of n and x2 of n. Let these be the two discrete signals. The convolutional sum of two signals can be calculated using the formula as mentioned below. So y of n, which is your output, and we have x1 and x2 are the two signals which can be varying from minus infinity to plus infinity. So I can say summation of k varying from minus infinity to infinity. I can say x1 of k and x2 of n minus k. Now if I assume that where m is nothing but the m point sequence and x2 of n is the n point sequence, and they can be convolute using the sequence y of n, and it's in terms of m plus n minus 1 point sequence. Now when we perform convolution of two sequences, we can perform using a inbuilt function which is called as conv, which is a inbuilt function which is there in MATLAB, which is basically used to perform what is called as linear convolution. In latest version of MATLAB, you have a separate functions which you can use in both for performing what is called as linear convolution and circular convolution. Where when you look into linear and circular convolution, they are basically different operations, but here there are conditions under which linear and circular convolution are equivalent. Establishing this equivalence has an important implication. Now when you look into inverse IDFT or IFFT, basically it's in one case you will be performing the convolution, and in case of circular you will be performing IFFT of FFT of the input signal and multiplying it with the length of the corresponding vector which you are having. So for our case, we will be using linear convolution sum formula, where you will be using convolution formula and substitute the value of n and k in the expression and calculate the value of the convoluted signal. Alternately, we can perform signal inverse time and shift superposition method by using which we can calculate using the resultant values. So let us assume that there are two signals as mentioned in. So x1 of n is given by flower bracket 1, 2, minus 1 and 3, and x2 of n is given by the elements 2, 3 and minus 2. We see that the sequence of x1 of n is m is equal to 4, and the sequence of x2 where n is equal to 3. Therefore the length of the convoluted signal would be m plus n minus 1, that is 4 plus 3, 7 minus 1 is equal to 6. Using the above given methods, we see that the resultant of the convoluted sequence is given by yn of n is equal to x1 of n star x2 of n and the corresponding results. So to check that in terms of a program, once we write the program, we will be giving the input sequence, that is x1 of n is equal to 1, 2, minus 1 and 3, and the input sequence of x2 of n, whatever input we had, that is 2, 3 and minus 2, and this would be the corresponding results. So where you can see the first signal is nothing but your input signal x1 of n, the second is nothing but your second sequence, that is x2 of n, and when you have x1 star x2 you will be getting y of n, that is your convoluted signal, and you can see the corresponding results here.